Hi, welcome to the Gentle Art Podcast with Gene Dunn. Today we got a really amazing story. It's wrought with peril and victory and triumph and principle and just an amazing story. And it's my pleasure to welcome Michael Gorodetsky to the Gentle Art Podcast.
Thank you, Shihan. Pleasure to be here.
So, Michael, what brought you to jiu-jitsu? Who brought you to jiu-jitsu? Or, before we go there, like walking up the stairs, you had said I'm a martial arts guy now. I'm just starting to think about being a martial arts guy.
I'm starting to kind of feel that way. Yeah.
Embrace it. And I said to you, what a great thing. Like, I think that identification is such a powerful thing, and it's going to serve you well in the long term.
It's really useful, practically speaking, too. I mean, I didn't know this until I started, but like I used to kind of. So I have a background in some sports. One of them is like bodybuilding and powerlifting, and I used to kind of walk down the street and think like if someone started some shit with me, I would be okay.
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash. Yeah. But I didn't know, I couldn't particular like art. I couldn't see how exactly I would kind of handle that situation. You're right. It would be kind of this Hulk smash idea, or I would just take them and use
Rage
my
them.
whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And then I started doing jujitsu, and now I'm like, walking on the street at night, and I see someone maybe like who could be suspicious, and that same sort of instinct comes up. But the difference is it's no longer Hulk smash.
Yeah.
It's like, if I grab the collar this way, hip in that way, block their foot that way, throw them down, take their back.
Yeah.
It's like a series of steps where I'm like, I can go from A all the way to Z, and I can control this person.
Yeah.
And it sort of kind of provides me with some security.
Yeah.
And I also like the aspect of it where I know that like I don't have to finish. I can just control someone.
Yes.
Wait for someone to call the police.
Absolutely, 100%.
I don't really have to like
hurt somebody.
Hurt somebody, and I don't want to.
Very important.
I don't want to.
Very important.
So,
I just want to add a little color here. Like, I remember when you first walked in, you did like one class. Alex brought you, right? Alex brought you, and Alex is a brown belt at the school. Really great guy, author and computer tech guy, and just overall, just wonderful family man. But you had said to me, I only want to do one day a week because I'm doing table tennis, right?
Yeah.
Like you're semi-pro-ish.
I would say I'm semi-pro-ish, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so it was occupying a lot of your time, right?
Yeah, like I did a competition called Jula Teams in Washington.
Yeah.
And my division one year was like D3.
Oh, that's up there.
So it's like kind of semi-pro.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. And
But I think the funny thing is that like you're not coming one day a week, bro.
I'm not.
Yeah, you're coming more.
I'm here 2 to 3. I'm actually coming to the dojo more than I'm going to my table tennis club. It's sort of switched.
It switched up.
Yeah, kind of inverted.
There's a really one of my favorite scenes from Platoon. Which is a war movie where Charlie Sheen is this young guy who's kind of battling these two ideas in his head. They're represented by these two like sergeants, and Willem Dafoe is kind of the peaceful one, and this other guy is like the harmful, like very much what we're talking about. And Charlie Sheen, after some battle, goes into this tent and they're smoking weed.
Okay.
And in the scene, like they're smoking literally through a barrel of a shotgun.
Oh,
and Willem Dafoe comes into the tent and goes to Charlie Sheen. The worm has definitely taken a turn for you, and like the worm of jiu-jitsu has taken a turn for you. You're down the rabbit hole, bro. Here you go.
I'm in it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm still
I'm
in it. So
it's fun. You know what? It gets my creative juices going. That's what I like. I feel like I'm kind of a creative guy. Like you made a comment about kind of like being left-handed. You're like, oh, you must think different. Yeah. So,
Well, I know you think different. My sister's left-handed.
yeah.
Her brain is configured a little bit different,
So and jujitsu allows me to explore that creativity Like I can do that in table tennis too, and it's very technical also, but just in a different way.
Yeah.
Because the pressure is different. The pressure in table tennis is, maybe it kind of hurts your image. You lose a set, you lose a match to a lower rated player,
Yeah.
right? And that matters in the community. But the pressure in jujitsu is like you're reminded of your mortality.
Very much so.
If you let someone advance to a point where you're kind of helpless, and and it's interesting. I'm sort of introspectively like have been kind of analyzing how I respond and how I feel and the under that kind of pressure, right? What kind of creative solution can I come to
Perfect. Yeah.
when I'm on that line of like I could die if this person wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What do I do then? And
Right.
and I'm really intrigued by this. I'm really intrigued by this.
Well, what an amazing setup for our story.
Yeah.
Um, so before we get there, like, what are some of the things on in your early part of I still think you're a little bit in the early stages, and I don't mean that derogatory. I just mean it from a 30-year perspective, and you're in your first year of training, correct?
Mhm.
So from that standpoint, like before your trip to Japan, what were some things that what was some messaging that you were getting from the training, from me, the school, that you were kind of working around or struggling with, or trying to understand or understanding what were you getting?
The biggest thing, and I try to be open minded because like I've had my ego like just beaten even before jujitsu,
Yeah.
so I try not to lead with that,
Yep.
and so I've been listening, and in the beginning it was constantly relax, lower your brow, calm down, control your breathing, think, right? Find a solution. I once made a comment. I was working with a black belt or rolling with a black belt. It was like my second day or something, and I laid on a strong grip, and this guy he had me take his back, and he's half my size, and he peeled it off, and then I said, "Wow, it's you, Shihan." I said, "Wow, strong guy," and then you said, "No, even better. He's smart." So those were the messages, right? The messages were problem solve, but you can't do that until you calm down and stop flailing around and let your frontal lobe, your brain reactivate so you can use it again. Find an efficient solution to the problem. That's what you were saying. And I mean, I finally started doing that. Like, I don't
Yes.
know if you notice in
Of
classes lately,
course. Of course.
I'm rolling.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
being technical.
Yeah.
I'm not powering through anything. If someone is a better practitioner than me, they lay on a submission. I'm not muscling my way out of it. I lost.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm gonna go home though, and I'm gonna think about.
Gather information.
Yeah,
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 yeah, sure.
because I'm competitive too. I'm a competitive guy, and I'm not like a domineering aggressive guy, but I'm competitive.
Yeah.
And so, I'll go home and I'll like what we've been discussing in my first month or two, right? I'll start thinking, right? What's the solution? How do I either not get caught in that situation, or what do I do once I make the mistake and I'm there?
Mhm.
And I find all of those things to be really helpful. I will say that it was almost ironic how it lined up because I had only been practicing jujitsu a few months before I got into that situation in Japan with
Well,
the
well,
ski.
well, let's go there. So
Yeah,
you take I think you take a month off or 3
it was
weeks.
like 3
Yeah,
weeks.
and you go to Japan. You're married to a Japanese woman.
Mm-hmm.
You regularly visit Japan. This
Mm-hmm.
was on your trip, let me kind of jump forward a little bit. So you come back from Japan and you go to me, Shian, I got a story for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my brow went up. It's like, okay, what's your story? And so you're in Japan, and
Well, I started skiing when I was maybe 14 or 15. I've skied for a few years and I just kind of stopped. And I have a friend group who's really into it and they sort of got me back into it and I got better. And again, right? It's being competitive and trying to see where the line is, right on it. That's kind of my personality. And I had gotten better. I'd gotten to a level where I could comfortably do like black diamonds, which are pretty advanced hills. And so I'm in Japan. I'm skiing with my mother-in-law, who's the only one who can really ski well. And she's really only able to do blues. But that's not enough for me, right? I want a taste of the harder ones. I want to push myself. I want to excel. So, and this is all while there's a blizzard, by the way. So I'm just thinking about my wife telling me, "You're going to tell people what kind of dumbass you are on live podcast." Yeah, I will.
Well, just in all fairness, because there's such a beautiful resonant point at the end of this, and I think that really can be very powerful for folks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
While she's over here on this side, I'm going to be over here on this side.
No, I love it. If I didn't believe in the message, I wouldn't have come on.
Yeah,
so I think it's important too.
So
I finished skiing with my mother-in-law, and I wanted to go on these black diamonds myself. I may be kind of extreme, I guess, but I'm also cautious.
Yeah, sure.
So I went on a black diamond for
in the blizzard.
In the blizzard, and it was fine. It was totally fine. It was even easy. One thing I should preface is that Japan conditions with regard to skiing are very different from the East Coast. It's powdered snow. What I later learned was that powdered snow acts a lot like quicksand. Unfortunately, because of my lack of experience skiing in Japan or in powder, I really had no clue.
Right.
So it was, and I should have seen it coming, because there was a point where my mother-in-law fell and couldn't get out of the snow in like a less advanced hill trail, and I had to like unclip my skis and take her by the waist and
lift her up
out of the snow. She couldn't get out. I mean, I should have realized then, but it just didn't register.
Something else driving you.
It didn't register. So I then think to myself, okay, I did this black diamond. I actually did it twice, the same one. This was easy. I felt comfortable. I felt safe. So I wanted more variety. I wanted to see what else was there. I had absolutely no plan of doing a double black, but I wanted to do black diamonds. And so I tried this different one. Now, I'm in Japan. I speak and I can read, but reading in Japanese is complicated. They have 3 alphabets, and I know like 1.5, and So I get off the lift, and there's a sign along the way which says expert only, and I think
can read that.
Well, no, that part was in English.
Oh,
it was Japanese. It had an English.
And for the Americans who want to test themselves,
for the dumbass Americans like me, but it said expert only. But the thing is, Shihan, that every black diamond is expert. They're all expert. They're all advanced trails. So I didn't understand that
didn't register either.
That didn't register. No, I was like, okay, well, so was the last one.
Right. Sure.
And I kind of start making my way, and it wasn't easy to go back, by the way, because that's one thing I thought when I finally got there. But you get off this lift and you're just going down like the walkway or the trail, which is flat all the way, for like a quarter mile or something.
Carrying your skis.
Oh no, you're on your skis, but you're kind of pushing yourself along with the poles. It's level, yeah. And until you finally get to the start of the actual trail.
Right.
At some point, though, it does dip a little bit, so it's not completely flat, right? So if you wanted to leave to get back to the lift, you'd have to walk up. So you can't push yourself.
Sure.
So you'd have to walk up all the way back in your boots.
So you're starting to think, okay, how am I going to get back? Or
okay, so I'm going down, and I'm halfway through this kind of like pathway to the actual trail, and then there's another sign, and the other sign says. It has Japanese, but in English it also says "no easy way down."
Oh,
Does
it have skull and crossbones on
no.
it? No,
that would have done it.
That would have registered for you.
You're kind of teasing the fuck out of me over here, but that would have that.
Well, I mean, I'm visualizing that this is this is kind of you got to be at some high level and
Yeah, if there was a skull and crossbones, I would have that would have hit.
yeah,
That would have registered.
right.
But expert only, no easy way down. Again, in my head, I'm like, none of them are easy to go down. They're
Right.
all black.
Right.
What I later learned was that it wasn't talking about the steepness. It was talking about the terrain. It wasn't particularly groomed terrain. There were moguls and kind of dunes, and there was no particular trail. You have to make your own.
Right.
If that wasn't, which I've skied on before, but not on powder.
Right.
So to make matters worse, I was by myself in a foreign country, and I speak Japanese, but I'm at a point where I can speak, but I'm shy or maybe a little insecure about it. I'm not comfortable just, hey, excuse me,
Right.
and I'm alone, right? I'm by myself. There's no one else at my level. And I kind of, and there's a blizzard. Let's not leave that out. And it's not any blizzard. I mean, it's a real blizzard. Like Shihan, you wouldn't be able to see more than 4 inches in front of you because snow is going so hard. And in fact, you can see trails where people have like made their own paths, the advanced skiers and snowboarders, right? And then within minutes, it would start to disappear.
It's kind of like the last blizzard we had here. I shoveled my sidewalk, and then 4 minutes later, it was gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that.
Really intense.
Okay.
So just think about that for a second, right? I'm by myself.
Can't speak the language, or not comfortable speaking the language.
Not comfortable.
Expert course. Blizzard.
No
powdered snow
that I don't have experience skiing on, except for like that year or in a previous year when I was at a much lower level.
So you're going down. You start this course.
I don't even go down yet. I look at it and I'm like, wow, this looks pretty bad. Like, I don't know if I want to do this. I look ahead of me. There's another path, and this one is through the trees, and that registered. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's way too dangerous. And I see like a Japanese group, and I kind of look at one of them as they're passing me, and they seem kind of relaxed and confident, like they're gonna go have a blast during this blizzard through these trees on powder, right? And I kind of say to them like, I'm like kawaii, which in Japanese means scary, right? Like kawaii, choto kawaii, like pretty scary. And he looks at me, and says, omoshiroi ne, which means it's fun, isn't it? It's fun, isn't it? And I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, I just said it looks kind of scary, like fun to you, like, kudos to you.
Right.
I have to make a decision. Do I unclip my skis, put them under my arm, and walk my ass back to the ski lift from where I came?
Yes.
Do I go between these trees, or do I go down this like trail of doom with dunes and big moguls and really no trail in the middle of a blizzard?
So what'd you pick?
Well, I am an advanced skier though. So I thought the easiest thing to do, the fastest thing, would be to go down the mountain.
Yes.
That's what I believed. And I told myself, no fancy shit. I'm not here to impress anyone. This is dangerous, because it really registered when I got there. I mean, it's like this steep and in all these conditions, and I'm by myself with no, like that guy that was saying, oh, omoshiroi ne, so fun. He had a group, fun for him.
Right.
I had nobody in a foreign country. I could just hear my wife. Anyway, so I told myself, I'm gonna break, right? I'm just gonna break down. I'm gonna take it slow. I just need to get down safely. I don't have to be impressive. I don't have to really ski it. I just need to get the fuck. I need to get the fuck down.
Yeah.
I need to get down.
Right.
And the thing about powder is that if you break and you slow down, you sink into it. So you have to maintain speed to float above it. I had no clue. And that would have been okay had the powder been, I don't know, 2 feet tall. Shihan, the powder was like bottomless. Like it was I strongly felt that it was taller than I am in height.
And you're 6 foot,
I'm 5'11",
roughly 6
roughly
feet. Yeah.
6 feet tall.
Yep.
It had to have been at least that much, if not more. So I'm breaking as I had planned because I thought that was an effective strategy. And naturally, the slow speed and the friction causes my heel, the tip of my skis to kind of pivot in, and I lose my balance and I fall. And I think nothing of it. I think, okay, whatever. I fall all the time. I mean, part of falling is skiing, just like in jujitsu.
Right.
Part of it's falling. That's why you learn to break fall. So
Right.
skiing's the same, right?
Right.
Uh, I think to myself, I'm just gonna stand up like I always do. I'll clip my skis back in, and I'll just keep going down my merry way, breaking. I don't give a shit how many times I fall. Whatever. I couldn't clip them in. There was no stable surface. Every time I tried to clip them in and put pressure, it sunk. I lost my skis in the snow. I couldn't clip them in. I couldn't get them on. And
How far deep are you now? Are you above your head in snow?
no, no, no,
Oh.
no, no, not yet, not yet. I mean, it didn't get that bad, but I was on my way. So
So you're waist deep?
I eventually got a little more than waist deep. So the start of it was me trying to clip my skis in and them sinking. And I tried different things. I tried to I tried to keep doing it, and eventually it sank in, and I fell over. So then one foot stuck. The other one kind of goes in, and because of all the shimmying, basically I was creating air pockets underneath so that the snow could collapse on top of each other along with me. And
So it's burying you alive.
it's starting to, yes, it's starting to bury me alive. And my other foot goes in. I'm heavy. I'm 200 pounds. It's not a great situation with fluff powder like that. That's not condensed. This is fresh powder. It's happening as at the powder is being created as I'm in that situation. So it's not even compressed, like like you think of a compressed snowball.
Right.
It's just so soft. It's airy. And I have one leg in, I have the other leg in, I fall back, and my hips dive in, and I'm kind of almost like in a swimming pool like this, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of start panicking. I start wrestling out. I try to pull one leg out. As I pull one leg out, my hip and my other leg go in deeper. Then I have to focus on that one. And I try to pull that one out. And then this one goes in deeper. And I'm slowly sinking in more and more and more and more. And
Holy cow.
yeah. And I'm
So
starting
what's going through your mind right now? Like what at that point?
at that point, nothing besides I have to get out of the situation. But at that point, it didn't register as dangerous yet.
Right.
So what happened is I started to become frustrated. Frustration was mounting, and I was flailing. I was trying to put my hand in the snow and
Hulk
press
smash.
myself up.
Hulk
Hulk
smash.
smash,
Yeah,
Hulk
yeah.
smash. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's true. I mean, it's true. But that's the natural human.
Of course.
I wasn't trying to use my strength. I was
You're
just
just
trying to
get
get
out.
up.
Right.
Right? Yeah, so it wasn't so much of like a meathead thing. It was just more of trying to survive. And unfortunately, the more I try to post on this airy snow, the more I sink. I mean, everything just kept sinking, and my goggles were getting foggy. They were getting. I started to lose visibility, and on top.
Are they getting foggy because the kind of rapidity of your breath, you're breathing rapidly? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, because I'm exhausting my energy. I'm starting to fatigue. I'm gassing out, and I was so frustrated, and my mind switched after 10 minutes of that. 10 minutes of that, I was getting tired. I was at this point about waist in, so maybe a knee was sticking out, and the rest of it was in. And I for that whole 10 minutes, I mean, I had only been really just getting myself deeper in. I was more stuck than ever. And I lost visibility.
Are you feeling it come back through your
Yeah, of
body?
course I
Yeah.
am. Of course I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It was scary. I mean,
I appreciate it, man. I think
of course I am.
yeah. Thank you for going there.
Yeah. So my mind switched at some point from like, when I get out of here, I'll see my wife and blah blah blah, and I'll do this and I'll enjoy the rest of my vacation. It switched to if, and that scared the shit out of me. That really did, Shihan. I started to think like, if I survive this, I'll see my wife again. If I survive this, like, I'll, you know, enjoy the rest of my vacation and get back to my friends, and I'll if and I had to deal with that first, actually, before I even was able to think about a solution to get out of the snow.
Is that that's the thing that awoke you to eventually coming to the solution, right? Do you think that
Not yet. It was part of it, but
but
not
it's
yet.
like it's stage 1
I would say stage 1 was the realization that whatever I was doing wasn't working,
and
and it
then
was making it worse. That was stage 1. Stage 2 was, this realization that, right, it's like I'm feeling my mortality. I'm wrestling with my mortality. I'm understanding. My brain is telling me that I could die. And stage 3 was it wasn't even a thought, Shihan. It was an impression in my body, right? I was like, where have I felt this before?
oh,
That's what it was. A feeling.
you asked yourself that question or it was
No, it
arriving?
was arriving.
Yeah.
Like, where have I felt like I'm kind of gassing out and flailing and it's not working, and I'm just making it worse for myself, and I'm getting nowhere quick. Where have I felt that? This is familiar for some reason. And I was like, oh shit, jujitsu. Having an experienced black belt who's like 200 something pounds, or even you, on top of me, and feeling like I can't, I can't get out of this. And if I fatigue,
Make it worse?
I'm just gonna make it worse. Exactly. And ironically, at the time, I was listening to your podcast while I was on vacation because I wasn't training, and I remember listening to the one about your mother and how she got shot and how she had to put one foot in front of the other. And then I remember the story that you told about how you kind of went out too far on a lake and you were gassing out, and the solution
It
was
was
to
in
lay
the
back
ocean.
in the ocean. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
even the
right.
lake, right? And the solution for you was to float on your back and recover your breath, to calm down. So all these things were floating in my mind, and I needed to use that to get out of the headspace of if I get out of this, I needed to become delusional and tell myself, when, as soon as I get out of this, I'm
Right.
gonna say, oh, good to see you, wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great trip we're having. Like, as soo- as soon as I get
So
out
you
of it,
make this mental shift
I
back
make
into the
them. I,
positive.
I make the mental shift into the positive. That's the first thing that happens.
Fascinating.
And after I make the mental shift, and I flip my thought process on its head, and I use delusion in my favor. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. When I get out of here, I'll blah blah blah, I'll whatever. So first it was the shift. After the shift, I realized I needed to calm down. My goggles could not get more foggy. It needed to stop right then and right there. And that was very helpful. I realized I needed to recover my breath too, just like in jujitsu. And these memories were kind of shooting up. Michael, lower your brow. Relax, buddy. Relax. Right? Lower your brow. Uh, like, relax. Don't wrestle out of it. Just relax. And breathing. You shouldn't be breathing hard, Michael. You shouldn't do that. You want to control your breath, because the one who gasses out is the one who loses in the long run, in the long term. All these things were coming up: the podcast, your story, the lessons I've learned in jujitsu, even in that short period. And I started doing all those things. I'm like, okay, I got to put one foot in front of the other. I have to calm down. I have to recover my breathing. I have to relax in this situation. I have to relax. I have to do this, and I have to do it now, right? So I had this urgency, and I did relax. I did relax. I just relaxed. And as soon as I was able to relax and stop fearing what seemed like evidential death, not to be intense, but it really felt super intense. I mean,
that's why the story is so amazing, man, because it's right there. You're on the doorstep, or at least it certainly felt that way, man. Like
a bit of both.
You're up there alone. You're in a very dangerous spot. It's snowing. You're losing all of your energy. No one's coming. No one's really.
And they can't really see me because of how tall the dunes are.
And it's snowing on top of you.
Yeah, almost no visibility at the peak of the mountain practically. Right. The blizzard's the worst on top.
The whole crew that you saw went another direction.
Right.
No one's coming.
And people, no one was really coming. If there was a group here and there, I was stuck, by the way, for like at least 40 minutes to an hour. I mean, I was fighting that for a while. And in that time, I saw maybe one or two other people, but they were all the way on the other side. And I wasn't thinking this at the time, but it's kind of ironic. Like, I guess part of me felt like I remember the feeling like, fuck, like it must be nice. You know, you're on your skis, you're chilling, you're getting down. I'm like,
what a fascinating thing to say.
It must be nice, you know, because I'm over here trying to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna get out of this.
Right.
And you're like, you know, this is an adventure for you, and it wasn't for me. At least not the kind that they were having.
Or in retrospect, right?
Thank you for listening to the Gentle Art Podcast. Please share, rate, and review. And if you have any questions or you'd like to reach out, please contact us at the GentleArtPodcast@gmail.com. or contact us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or thegentleartpodcast.com.